Right.
Our producer's only who likes white carrot cake.
Woo! Who likes white carrot cake?
This is an indictment of his character. Anyway, so yeah, let's just eat first. Hi everyone and welcome to Makan with YMAX. So today we have with us Rachel.
Hello! Hi everyone! My name is Rachel. I'm currently a university student and I'm part of Students for Fossil Free Future.
Right, so what is Students for Fossil Free Future? Like a brief insight.
Brief insight. So we are a group of inter-university students and we have come together to call for universities to end links with fossil fuel industries. So what we did in our campaign in January this year is we published this report called Fossil Fuel Universities, highlighting the different ways that universities in Singapore partner with or are associated with fossil fuel companies. And we think as leaders in many things, including our transition to renewable energy, we call for these universities to reevaluate these ties and eventually cut them off.
Right, so like divesting away from...
Yes, so divesting is one of them. Initially, we started off with a call for simply divestment. So that means cutting off investment in fossil fuel industries. But we also realized that in other areas such as academics, use of campus spaces, and also professional development, there are also other ways that universities work with and therefore endorse fossil fuels and their presence in the university. So we also call for those links to be reevaluated.
Okay. Why universities in particular? Like what made you decide to focus on universities of like all the institutions?
That's a good question. I think when we think about different actors in the world, stakeholders like governments, corporations, universities often stand out to us as educational institutes of higher learning. And because of that, we think that they are bestowed with this responsibility to lead important changes on transitions that we see in the world. I think on a basic level, we go to school because we want to make the future a better place, right? And university often equips us with these skills. But we think it's hypocritical that while they're trying to teach us ways to make the world a better place, in their back end of operations and the way that they do things exist as an institute, they are encouraging and endorsing the presence of these fossil fuel companies, which we have already accepted needs to go in order for this future to be one that's sustainable and actually existing in the next few years.
So, you know how big this bad boy is. So what difficulties did you all have like in general with going to this or your campaign or trying to garner outreach in general?
Yeah, actually this campaign has been in the works for more than 2 years. It started off with a group of Yale and US students a few years back, realizing that there's not enough information with regards to how Singaporean universities work with or are partners with fossil fuel industry. So we do know that there are some investments going on, but we also don't know how much that is and what more of these links could look like. So we decided that having a source of information for us to know and understand how this looks like is the first stage for us to know like what steps we want to do moving forward. So that's when the team came out with this report, and you can see there's a page where it's like a acknowledgements of people who have contributed, and many of these people have already graduated. So when the report took about 1.5 years to make, and it was still in the editing works all the way up to its release. At the beginning of last year, we were like, okay, we have this report now, it's like 60 plus pages, what are we going to do about it? How do we want to use this report as a means to start negotiations and discussions that are crucial with the public and also with the university board members? So that's when we started to conceptualize like what a campaign would look like. And I think I was involved in the very first discussion. So when we first had a report and we were like, what are we going to do? We were talking about so many different ideas and things like going to the press, releasing it, having a press conference and all these things. I was like, what? What is this? Like a huge intervention in the world and stuff like that. I think conceptualizing it was a challenging part because we also feel like the narratives of change in Singapore are currently in the process of being written and concretized, right? Like, how does ground-up change look like? It's something that many groups are still in conversation about and trying to figure out, especially with SG Climate Rally, trying this kind of ground-up resistance that is explicit but also in the limits of the legal limitations in Singapore, right?
So for this campaign, it's mostly like, for example, like with regards to the student body, it's more of like giving them information and then like trying to rally them for the cause. And then for the universities, it's supposed to be like a wake-up call as well as negotiation.
Yeah, I think you summarized that pretty well. So there's There were a couple of things that we tried to do, but I think like you covered two main things is firstly to start conversation with university boards. I think that was our key objective, right? Because they are the ones that are in direct control of where these funds go and how these things look like. This was supposed to be kind of like we put this on the table and let's talk. And second thing is also using this platform to draw in supporters for our cause, help the public and the students to realize the kind of like systems that they are in and the way that things work, and also provide platforms for them to step up into roles where they can also join us in echoing what we want to fight for. So what that would look like is, I think for our future, what we are looking forward to is having fossil-free groups within each school. Because right now we are a general umbrella institution.
Right.
Oh my god, we are not an institution. Right now we're a general umbrella organization and we are calling for all the universities in general, right? But it's difficult for us to enter a school where we are not students of to have that conversation with them. So how can we like set up these other groups, one in each school, and then together build capacity so that we can have kind of like this collective rallying call.
Right. So right now, like the organization is like this, and it's just made out of people from different universities. But what you want is for it to like kind of each university has its own dedicated organization. Okay. Hi. So now we're on to the Makan portion of our video. So since Rachel is vegetarian, so all the food on this table right now are all meat-free. So this is carrot cake. This is chi kueh, this is butterfly fritters, and this is ham ji peng, which has red bean in it, like a red bean version of this. I think I've never eaten it before. Anyway, so for carrot cake, which one do you like more? We don't know, so we prepared both.
Oh, obviously I like black more.
So true.
Right.
One of our producers only who likes white carrot cake.
Whoa, who likes white carrot cake?
This is an indictment of his character. Anyway, so yeah, let's just eat first.
Okay.
Yeah. So while we eat, maybe you can tell me more about the report. Because it's a very long report, right? So since we have 4 things here, so what are the 4 key things of this report?
Our report talks about the links that universities have with fossil fuel industries in 4 main ways. So the first and the most prominently known one is finances. So in terms of investing our endowment. Second one is academics. So that looks like funding certain student scholarships, especially in the field of engineering or energy. Sometimes they have fellows and professors who are also partially or fully sponsored by fossil fuel industries. The third one is professional development, so holding career events that are sponsored by and will be led by these fossil fuel industries and kind of like promoting these internship opportunities or job opportunities. And the last one is using campus spaces. So I think for NUS students, you'll be quite familiar with the Oxford Mobile campus concerts. So in all of these ways, we feel that universities partnering actively and working with these fossil fuel companies are not only endorsing them but also kind of inviting them into the space of education and tertiary education, and we kind of want to bring that awareness to the public and to the schools and ask the students whether this is something that they want to stand for and they want to be complicit with, and for us we feel that it's not something that we should continue.
You guys have had booths in my school before, like NTU, I'm from NTU. Like, how was it like, I guess? Like, how is outreach like?
We published a report on the Monday of that 17th January, and then for the next 2 weeks we held different events at different schools. So I think the week after that we had booths in the schools with our members inside. So then typically we would start with a Wear Blue Day, wearing blue in support of divestment, and then we had booths kind of like to raise awareness and also to sell merchandise, get people to sign up petition to find out more about this thing. Having the media splash was something that was very helpful in gaining awareness because a lot of people already knew about us in the news. And then I think a lot of people come with different sorts of questions, right? Because this idea of like fossil fuel investment and endowment is still quite new to a lot of people, including myself when I first joined the campaign. So I think having that conversation with them about what it's about, and I think also some of the common misconceptions or rebuttals that they may have from our campaign. So yeah, that was very interesting and very energizing actually, because I think at that point of time we were all like almost very burnt out in the whole process. Just like, I don't want to do this. But then when we saw the support that we got and just like talking to our friends who told us that it was work that they resonated with and that they were proud of and they were happy that it was happening. For me personally, it was very, very energizing.
Yeah, right. So it's like when you receive support from people, then you felt that at least you were doing something like more like meaningful, right? Like you felt it.
And I think also not to feel so alone, because I think we had a lot of backlash on social media, on like Reddit and like Straits Times commenters, which I think is very understandable given like the nature of what we're suggesting and also perhaps some like preconceptions that people have about youth acting on climate change specifically. So to see that actually like beyond that, there were supporters in our midst and who were students as well. So similarly holding that same kind of power and agency to change, I think that's very like encouraging.
Yeah, I think one of the pros of being a trailblazer is that inevitably like you get people who want to burn you along the way, you know. Like,
Wow, profound. Put
metaphors.
that in a quote.
Yes, put it on a t-shirt. Yeah, what do you think, like, amongst all the people who like responded to the report or like your campaign in general, like what about the universities themselves?
Yeah, so universities were one of our key target audiences in the whole campaign. So what we did was that we sent them the physical copy of the report on the morning that it was released. So it's quite dramatic actually. Like we went down to the office and they had like a brown envelope with the name of the university and our stamp and everything.
Do you hand it to them like, here's our report?
Yeah, that was the idea.
Really?
But actually, like in reality, like their secretary is there and they're like, oh, he's in a meeting now. And then we have to like, oh, can you please pass this? And she's like, who are you? So like, it's not as dramatic as we thought it would be, but it happened. So I think following the news articles and all that, these press outlets actually reached out directly to the universities to respond, as well as we did. So we also sent a follow-up email, right? So they responded to the press outlets first, a lot of them saying that this line of sustainability is something that they're already considering about quite comprehensively. I think NUS, NTU and SMU all responded, and NUS specifically talked about divestment and how like responded to that specific kind of category of finances. So then there's 3 other categories that I talked about previously that had not been acknowledged by them. And then following that, I think a few weeks after the campaign, we started to get more like personalized responses. So actually replying directly to our email. But I think we were disappointed that it took that long, right? It was like when the news comes out in the media, the universities choose to respond to the media instead of to the students or the people behind the campaign. But anyway, we took what we could. NUS referred us to their sustainability department, and then SMU actually had a more direct response. I think they responded to us by introducing some sustainability initiatives that they're doing in their university. So I like to think or interpret that as we have perhaps struck them in a place where they feel like they don't have a sufficient response to directly counter the claims that I'm making, because this is factually grounded, right? Like it is true that these partnerships are happening and these programs are backed up by sources online or people that we have talked to in the universities. So as when it comes to like direct conversation about these specific asks and terms is something that we're still working on, and I guess a lot of things we still don't know how they're talking about, how they're thinking about it internally. Yeah, so we'll have to follow up with more detailed conversations with each of these university boards, because different boards will be thinking different things or having different concerns. So that's what they respond.
Their current sustainability measures, if any.
I think most of their sustainability measures are quite aligned with how the Singapore government has portrayed a sort of narrative about sustainability, right? So it looks like the 3 Rs, it looks like giving grants to projects that help to promote zero waste, giving out awards to certain departments for hitting certain like recycling. So it's very much still on the waste side, or like consumer, how much we consume, how we can recycle and stuff like that. But we think that the problem has become much bigger than that, right? Like even if the whole Singapore, the whole NUS were to cut down our paper usage infinitely, there would still be a huge proportion of carbon emissions and waste that's coming from industries that are outside of our everyday use, right? So that looks like energy, looks like industries, and things that the individual consumer cannot control. So that's where we want to shift the conversation into, right? Can we stop talking about how we can recycle and instead talk about the ways that these bigger stakeholders, larger systems can change with the power of the people pressing and negotiating for these better things to happen.
Right, so not so much like individual accountability, but more of like trying to look at larger organizations and what the individual can do to pressurize these larger corporations, I guess?
Yeah, something like that.
So next up we have Chi Gui or Zui Gui, which I have never tried.
She's never tried it before.
So I will be trying it now.
Nice, let's do it. Let's do it together.
Vague apprehension.
It's not even vague apprehension, you are fully apprehensive. If you eat the white
like a
part.
hard-boiled egg. Huh?
Yeah, it does.
Does it taste like egg?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Why is it spicy looking?
Because they ordered spicy. Not bad. It's better than I remembered, but it's a bit spicy. Are you okay? Are you doing okay?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's like a plain base with a tasteful top. Means like we add together and divide by 2.
Wait, so it's a spicy version. So there's a non-spicy version.
I think so. Rate it out of 10. She's in pain. Do you need water?
No. I'm thinking. Okay, I think it's definitely not what I was expecting. Which means it tastes good because I had low expectations.
You had very low expectations.
I mean, it just visually confused me because I thought this was gonna be, you know, in Ban Mian they have like
the fried onion.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that.
I thought that was it. So I was confused.
Okay, you're expecting that kind of like savory taste. But this quite savory also, what?
Yeah, but it's not crunchy.
Oh, okay.
Is it supposed to be crunchy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, you put in a ban mian, it's like soup. Then it will be crunchy. I guess this will be untouched for the producer.
What a pleasant surprise. But since the directors decided to buy it, so we shall leave it for them. So I'm gonna move on to this. I'm gonna move on to this next one, which is butterfly fritters. Is there anything inside that I should be concerned?
No, I think this is plain. I want to try the red bean one.
She looks pretty good.
Right? It does, right? Good.
I think I've eaten this before, like for real.
Oh really? Who never eat red bean before? This is like a Chinese red bean bun.
Okay, so how was like your campaign in general, right? Because you mentioned the booth. Like, what other parts of your campaign did you like? Like, do you enjoy the most, or like, do you have the most difficulty with?
What happened in the campaign was it was a 2-week campaign, so we started off on Monday with releasing the report, and then we had an online presentation session about it. About 80 people turned up, and then like they could ask questions and stuff like that. Then
was it open to the public or to the unit? Oh, okay.
So we also sent like individual invites to the board members.
Oh.
And they did not turn up. And then after that, for the rest of the week, we had some open spaces as well, because what we wanted to do was for this report to start conversation with different stakeholders about these links and understanding this general issue. So we also had conversations with university students. So it's called University X Climate Change Talk. So then we talked about fossil fuels, we talked about transitioning to green energy, and we had the booth. We also had a closing event, and then a few weeks after that we held an eco poetry night. So we had 2 eco poetry nights actually. The first one was face to face. It was in one of the universities at the end of the booth day.
Oh.
Yeah, so actually on that day it was quite happening. We had the booth, and then we had art event, and then we had eco poetry night. So the art event was just for people to kind of like collectively decorate on a banner. We also took that time to like talk to people about our campaign and also
where are you
like
gonna hang the banner?
We actually hanged it in our school.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's been there ever since.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure we'll be asked to take it down soon, but the semester has ended and they haven't. So
No, we should take this as an indication that they support.
right, it's like a quiet support, like the infrastructure people.
Maybe after this video is published, they'll watch it and then they'll ask you to
I self-sabotaged.
No, this is, we got touch wood.
But the banner stays up. Then the eco poetry night, we invited our friends from the school to share like either works that they've written or works that they like that they want to share with regards to like the environment, and often that bleeds into issues of like colonialism, capitalism, and like questioning these larger structures in society, understanding like the natural world and our relationship with it. And then a few weeks later we had online eco poetry night with like real legit poets, so not student poets, and it was an online Zoom event. And I think what was great about it was that we not only got people who were interested in our cause, who are interested in the environment, and also for people who I found the art space who are interested in like poetry and literature in general, who came to the event and also took home like a slice of that fossil-free essence with them.
A slice?
Like,
Not a drop of essence?
No, a slice is bigger.
Yeah, so true. The more the merrier. So how did you join this like organization?
If I think back about my environmental journey, it goes back quite long, a few years ago. I think when I first started, I was still looking into environmental issues more as like an individual kind of responsibility. How can we help people change their habits to using more reusables, eating less meat, recycling more? As time went on, I realized that so much more of the bigger issue lies in the hands of people who are currently in positions of power, and that means looking at like larger structures and how they work, and understanding how like us as individuals or stakeholders of these systems can work together to pressure and change the way that things have been going. So I think when I joined university, I was looking at ways or groups that were currently already working in that direction, and so I joined the fossil-free branch of my school. And what they were looking at was negotiations with the investment office as to how we can reduce our investments, our endowments to fossil fuel companies. So at that point in time, they were already transitioning into this S4F campaign with the production of the report, understanding how like these links extend beyond like investment, and then they were looking for people to join, and I was like, I'm in. So that's how I joined.
So if there are other people out there who are also like-minded, how should they join?
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people throughout the course of our campaign begin to realize, or maybe in their daily life, they really begin to see how the climate crisis is becoming more and more scary for them, how it's becoming very real in a way that temperatures are changing, or maybe they have friends who live in other countries who are going through natural disasters, or they're realizing that, damn, like this is real and something needs to be done about it. And I think for a lot of people who see Citizens for Fossil-Free Future as a mission and a vision that they resonate with, we are an open team for the most part. So all of our members are also students or some like young working adults, and I think everyone has something to bring to the table. So in different phases where we work as a team, we get new members in to join us at the appropriate time, and they can help in whatever way possible. So that we have social media, we have event planning, we also have a creative department. So that's when you see like our zines for sale, our merch for sale, the Eco Poetry Night. We also have teams that look at specific theories of change and say who's in the board and who can we approach, what are our like points of entry into certain people and decision makers. We also have people working with the press, which is why you see like things coming out in the news and stuff like that. We're working with external engagement. So yeah, like, if you're interested and you know that it's something that you are willing to commit your time and energy to, there will always be an opening where there's a way that you can support our campaign. So there will be a link on our Instagram or on our website.
Just click the link in their bio. Yeah. No, they're always open for recruitment.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. Okay, so that's all we have for today's episode of Makan with YMAX. So now we will continue eating. See you next time.
Bye!